President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi attended the 41st Cultural Symposium of the Armed Forces at Al-Manara International Center, marking Martyrs and Veterans Day. Addressing the symposium, which was held under the title Loyal People, President al-Sisi hailed the sacrifices of personnel who paid their lives for the sake of the nation. The details.
On the occasion marking Martyrs and Veterans Day, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi witnessed on Tuesday the 41st Cultural Symposium of the Armed Forces, which was held at El Manara International Center. Addressing the symposium held under the title Loyal People, President al-Sisi hailed sacrifices made by personnel who paid their lives for the sake of the nation. The head of state reiterated that the Arab nation is capable of protecting its security and maintaining its position as a pioneering nation. The President noted that the Martyrs' Day this year coincides with the 10th of Ramadan war victory. According to the lunar calendar, the day Egypt won one of the most honorable battles. He honored a number of families whose loved ones were martyred or injured during military operations. The President said Egypt's martyrs not only paid their lives but also paved the way for the future for the nation. He noted that thanks to the sacrifice made by the martyrs, the state was able to face challenges and establish national projects. President al-Sisi said recent threats had created a disorderly situation, especially with regards to the Palestinian cause. He said Egypt is seeking to provide solutions to achieve peace and security in the region, being an active doer in the issue. The head of state added that Egypt's position regarding the Palestinian cause was unchanged, which calls for establishing a Palestinian state and rejecting attempts to relocate the Palestinian people. He said this position would not have been consolidated by the awareness of the people and their support to the political leadership. President al-Sisi praised the Palestinian people for their perseverance, saying Egypt would provide all efforts to support the Palestinians in their battle for existence. He extended his appreciation to Egyptians and the military for efforts being exerted to shape the nation's military, political and economic capabilities.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Expatriates Badr Abdulati stressed the pivotal and influential role played by the media in raising awareness of external challenges facing the nation. Minister Abdulati asserted adherence to the constants and principles of Egyptian foreign policy's principles and the country's commitment to implement a strategic balance. The top diplomat made his comments during his meeting with officials of the national media organizations and senior journalists and media professionals. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Expatriates Badr Abdulati stressed the importance of Egypt-EU partnership in supporting efforts of maintaining security and stability in the Horn of Africa region. The minister's remarks came during his meeting with EU Special Representative for the Horn of Africa, Annette Weber, on Tuesday. Abdulati said that Egypt is keen on finding peaceful solutions and resolving regional conflicts through constructive dialogue and joint cooperation. He also stressed the need to intensify international and regional efforts to address security challenges facing countries of the region, topped by fighting terrorism and extremism. For her part, the EU envoy to the Horn of Africa expressed the EU's appreciation for Egypt's active role in solving African issues. Egypt on Tuesday condemned Israel's decision to cut off electricity to the Gaza Strip, calling it a new violation of international humanitarian law. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry said the move was part of Israel's policies of collective punishment after Israeli authorities blocked the entry of aid into Gaza last week. The details.
Tuesday condemned Israel's decision to cut electricity supply to the Gaza Strip, describing the move as a breach to the international humanitarian law and Fourth Geneva Agreement. In a Foreign Ministry statement, Cairo also fully rejected collective punitive policies by Israel, including holding the entry of humanitarian aid into the besieged Strip, which undermined the situation there. Egypt further called on the international community to shoulder its responsibility and take necessary measures to stop violations in Gaza. Also on Tuesday, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Jordan condemned Israel's decision to cut electricity supply to the war-battered Gaza Strip, calling in separate statements for the international community to take action. Saudi Arabia expressed condemnation in the strongest terms of the Israeli occupation authorities' use of the collective punishment against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip by cutting off electricity to the area. For its part, Qatar strongly condemned the Israeli Occupations Act, considering it a violation of international humanitarian law. And Jordan called for electricity cut, a clear continuation of the policy of starvation and siege imposed by Israelis. Israel announced on Sunday that it was disconnecting the only power line to a water desalination plant in Gaza.
Palestinian officials said Tuesday Israeli fire had killed 8 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and 3 more in the occupied West Bank over the past 24 hours. An Israeli airstrike killed 4 people, including 2 brothers, near the Netzarim corridor in the Gaza Strip. Separately, 3 Palestinians, including a 58-year-old woman, were killed by Israeli fire in the volatile West Bank city of Jenin. The Gaza Health Ministry said 4 people had been killed by Israeli fire and another 14 wounded over the past 24 hours. Israel is cutting off all electricity, food, medicine and other goods for Gaza's more than 2 million Palestinians. The United Nations and other humanitarian aid providers say Israel is violating international law in its bid to pressure Hamas to accept an extension of the first phase of the ceasefire. Senior Hamas official Abdurrahman Shadid said that a fresh round of Gaza ceasefire talks began on Tuesday in the Qatari capital Doha, with the Palestinian movement approaching negotiations positively and responsibly. Shadid expressed hope that the current round of negotiations leads to tangible progress toward beginning the second phase. He also expressed hope that U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff would help initiate negotiations for the second phase of the ceasefire agreement, adding that the U.S. administration bears responsibility due to its unwavering support for the occupying Israeli government. Meanwhile, Israel has also sent a team of negotiators for talks aimed at extending the fragile ceasefire in Gaza. The first 42-day phase of the truce deal expired in early March without agreement on subsequent stages meant to secure a lasting end to the war, which erupted after Hamas' October 7, 2023 attack on Israel.